everyone. Welcome to add Gen AI capabilities to your Android app. My name is Terence. I'm a developer relations engineer here at Google and specializing in Gen AI and on-device Gen AI. So good to meet everyone. Today's agenda, first, just use cases for Gen AI on Android in general. And then we'll take a look at some of the solutions. So how can we help you to bring these Gen AI use cases to life? So including on-device Gen AI, so Gen AI that runs directly on the phone, and cloud inference. So we have a very cool Gemini API as well, which is very powerful and uses cloud models. And then we've also taken the power of Gemini and added that to developer tools. So Gemini is also now present in Android Studio. So we'll have some time at the end to cover that as well. Before I begin, just wanted to get a quick show of hands. How many of you have already started integrating Gen AI into your apps? Cool, a few of you. How many of you are thinking about it at least? Great, a few more. By the end of the talk, I want it to be the whole room. So what can you use Gen AI for? For those of you that are just thinking about it or maybe haven't started thinking about integrating Gen AI yet, in general, we believe that Gen AI can be used for any well-scoped task that used to require human intervention. So we've put some examples out here, but really the possibilities are endless. It's just up to you to experiment with the technology and see if it'll work for your use case. So we've put examples like synthesizing data into a human readable format, generating captions from images. So you can also do that for videos as well. So any type of thing that you want to generate captions of, or even like translating the caption to make it more accessible in more languages. Identifying conversation topics and generating chapters from an audio file, so classification. And also describing scenes and actions from a video. So if you want a quick description of what this video is or what the scene is, Gen AI will be a good tool for that. So this is what we think on Android a Gen AI feature development cycle looks like. So in the beginning, we want to start with prototyping and experimentation. Gen AI is a little bit different than most technologies we're used to in that it's non-deterministic. So if you pass in the same the same input, the output might not be the same. So we think experimentation is very important here, just to understand the model and see if it'll work well for your particular use case. And in this first group here, also small scale testing. So once you're confident with it, roll it out in small scale just to get additional confidence on how this works for you. Number two is use case validation, so more about like initial production rollout. And at this point, it would be a good time to evaluate metrics impact and assess performance requirements, especially for the on-device side. Things like system health and all of that will become important. Third is optimizing and scale deployment. So all about optimizing your Gen AI inference, reducing cost if applicable, and exploring some on-device deployment and maybe server-based backend integrations. So now that we've learned a little bit about the use cases, let's talk about the solutions, the tools that you can use to build those use cases. So first is on-device. On-device Gen AI runs directly on the user's hardware, and it offers several key benefits that we've outlined here. First is that the user's data remains on their device, so full local processing, and if the user has sensitive data, they may prefer that to stay within their own phone and not pass to any server. Second is offline availability. Because all the inference is done directly on the user's hardware, during low connectivity or no connectivity scenarios, Gen AI will continue to run as normal if you run it on device. Third is potentially reduced latency. So again, this more or less depends on the network, but because you save that round trip time to the server, some tasks can be done faster on device. And then lastly, no additional inference costs for each inference. Once you deploy the solution, and if it's running on device, unlike server-based Gen AI, there's no additional cost because, again, it's the user's hardware. So at Google or on Android, we have several options for on-device Gen AI today. We have Gemini Nano, LiteRT, MediaPipe, and MLKit. So let me go into each of these in a little more detail. So Gemini Nano is the smallest model of the Gemini family, and those models are developed by Google. They're the smallest and most distilled version of the Gemini Nano models. And it's specifically designed to run on mobile hardware. It is supported by AI Core, a system app, and you'll learn a little bit more about this later, but essentially it makes it very easy for developers to run Gen AI inferences on device. You only need to call a developer SDK to make that happen. LiteRT is a runtime for ML and AI models on your phone. It used to be called TF Lite, so many of you may remember the old TF Lite name. And there are large amounts of pre-designed model architectures that may serve your use case. MediaPipe is an open source framework by Google that simplifies building and deploying machine learning and AI. So it consists of two different sets of tasks. One is a semi-customizable set of tasks for dedicated use case. Those are more like traditional AI or ML. And there's also an LLM task that we'll cover in a little bit that allows you to run Gemma and other open models. MLKit, this last solution here, is Google's mobile SDK that simplifies adding machine learning to your apps. And it provides ready-to-use, out-of-the-box APIs for tasks like text recognition and face detection. So that's also another option. So we know that that's a lot of solutions. So to kind of help visualize this, we've created this little graph here. So you can see towards the top is more Gen AI, towards the bottom is more ML or traditional AI, so basically non-Gen AI. And then on the left is more customizable, so more fitting for your use case, depending on what it is. And to the right is more plug and play. So less customizable, but easier to just integrate into your app and start using it directly. And now let's spend a little bit more time on Gemini Nano. So Gemini Nano is Android's foundation model of choice for building on-device Gen AI apps. And a lot of that is because of AI Core. So it is integrated into Android OS via AI Core, a system app. And as I mentioned earlier, this means that devs just have to call the SDK, in this case we call it the AI Edge SDK, to provide access or to get access to on-device Gen AI. So it's available on the Pixel 8 and 9 series, Samsung S24 series, Samsung Flip 6 and Fold 6, and also select Motorola devices. So we're targeting flagships, and we look forward to bringing it to more devices soon. And just to give you an idea of what on-device Gen AI can do, here's a quick case study. So this is from Pixel Screenshots. This launched during Made by Google in August. And they basically leverage Gemini Nano with multimodality, the newest Gemini Nano model, to save, organize, and recall screenshots. So now, basically, what you can do from your Screenshots app is you can do natural language search. So in this case, what's my package tracking number? And the app will find that from your many screenshots on the phone and be able to return the answer to you in a conversational format. Next, let's go a little bit into MediaPipe LLM inference task. So this is an API to run large language models completely on device for text-to-text use cases. It's cross-platform, so it's available on Android, iOS, web, and beyond. The list of models that it supports are all open models, so the Gemma family, Phi2, Falcon, RW, etc. And the steps that you need to know to get started, basically you need to select a model from the list, download it and store it in your project directory, set up and run the task with your prepared prompt and any inference data that you may want to add, and fine-tune with LoRa if necessary, so for the Gemma 2B and Phi2 models. And then we also have LiteRT, formerly known as TF Lite. So it's a flexible and customizable runtime for a wide range of models. It's available like MediaPipe on Android, iOS, and beyond. And the steps to get started, basically you need to choose a model first and convert it into the TF Lite format. So there's a list on Kaggle, which I've added a screenshot here, of many existing models that you can pick from. If none of those work for you, we also have converters from PyTorch and JAX. You can take your existing model, convert it into a LiteRT or TF Lite compatible, make it TF Lite or LiteRT compatible, and then deploy it on the device using LiteRT. Once it's deployed, run inference from your app using LiteRT APIs for different platforms. And the third step is optional but highly recommended. Implement hardware acceleration to improve that model's performance. So we've talked a little bit about on-device Gen AI. In general, while it has many benefits, it also does have some limitations today. And those limitations are mostly because devices have less computational power than servers. So we see limitations in lower parameter size, smaller context window, and the model being less generalized. So an implication of that is that on-device Gen AI today is not good at all use cases. So for example, it won't be as good as at chatbot use cases. But we do have some solutions that will be good at chatbot that we'll share shortly. So now let's take a look at cloud-based Gen AI with the Gemini API. So Vertex AI for Firebase allows you to easily access Gemini cloud models from your Android app. So you can see this is a little diagram, and it's basically helping you access our latest models, Gemini 1.5 Pro and Gemini 1.5 Flash. So it's very simple to add, just 10 lines of code. So earlier I mentioned that on-device Gen AI may not be good at chatbot use cases. Well, it turns out that the Gemini API is actually very good at chatbot. So it's only 10 lines of code, and the inference is actually pretty cost-effective with the prices of especially Gemini 1.5 Flash today. So back to the chatbot use case. So system instructions enables you to define a persona or role if you want your chatbot to explain like you're 5, or if you want your chatbot to behave like a university professor, that's something that you can define. And also the output format or tone, depending on what you're trying to use it for, you may want a CSV or JSON or et cetera. Those are all possible with the Gemini API. So where can you deploy that into your apps? Well, conversational interface would be a good use case for that. So providing guidance and instructions in the app to help users along. So in this case, the user asks, hey, how do I remove the background of a picture? The model can respond with, hey, using the settings in the top right menu, and then also provide intelligently an easy way for the users to get to the settings. Both Gemini 1.5 Pro and 1.5 Flash support multimodal inference, so it allows text, image, audio, and video as inputs. So suppose a use case is suggesting photo edits. So in this case, we're prompting the model, recommend filter settings to make this photo more vibrant. So we can have the Gemini model we can provide the following system instruction to the Gemini model before this prompt is provided, like you're a photo editing expert, here are the different values that you can configure, and return the value as a JSON. So after seeing the prompt now for making the photo more vibrant, it'll provide a JSON with the values to change. And now here's a little code snippet just to show you how easy this is to set up. So you can see the system instruction here being provided, and the response type being JSON. And after the model is initialized, we want to send the prompt to the model. So make this photo more vibrant. So here we first provide the image in the bitmap form, and then also, hey, recommend filter settings to make this photo more vibrant. So as you can see, pretty straightforward code, and we just call generate content for the inference to happen. Context window, that's one of the major strengths of the Gemini models today. They have huge context windows. So 1.5 Flash actually has a 1 million token context window, and Gemini 1.5 Pro has a 2 million token context window. So just to put that in a little bit of perspective, For text, that will be 750,000 words, or about 4 Harry Potter books. And for audio, 11 hours worth of audio, or about 1.5 Harry Potter audiobooks. And for video, it's about 1 hour of video. Let's go through another example, asking about movie plots Q&A. So the system instruction here would be, hey, you're a movie and scenario expert providing plots without spoilers. And so what is the spinning top for with an image? So again, using Gemini's multimodal capabilities. And in context, we'll provide PDF file with characters, descriptions, synopsis, etc. And the response, basically, it'll take into account the system instructions, what is the role or persona you're defining for the model, and the image and the in-context files in order to generate this kind of response. Function calling is another powerful tool that you can integrate with the Gemini models. And it allows you to define custom Kotlin functions and provide them to the model to augment its capabilities. So the model was trained at a specific point in time, so it may not be aware of all the latest things that happen, such as like weather forecast, your app's order history, currency conversion, all of those things. So what you can do is you can help the model by providing this information via a custom Kotlin function, and the model can actually intelligently call that function and give itself that kind of data for inference. So to learn more, please visit our Firebase documentation to learn more about our Vertex AI and Firebase API. And then next, let's cover a little bit about how Gemini is transforming our developer tools, so Android Studio. So previously, it was called StudioBot, but now we call it Gemini in Android Studio. What is it? So it's a coding companion for Android development, combining Gemini's intelligence with Android domain knowledge in order to help our Android developers get the best coding companion. It's integrated directly into your Studio workflow, so you don't have to go somewhere else to find the Gemini. And you can ask questions in plain English, like generate code, find relevant resources, or even add some comments. So here's an example, coding assistance. You can ask Android questions to an AI assistant directly in Android Studio. So here's a quick screen capture as an example. So it's like getting the best way of getting location on Android. So you can imagine if you're new to a project or new to Android development as a whole, how Gemini and Android Studio can help you to quickly onboard. It can also help generate Android code as well. So you can hit tab to accept its suggestions. Quick demo here. It can also help explain errors and improve code. So getting explanations for build and runtime errors, and also suggest fixes as well in real time, which can be, again, action in just a click. So you can take their recommendations and apply it to your code. So yeah, that's Gemini in Android Studio. It's now available in over 200 countries and territories. Another thing that it can do is code suggestions. So natural language refactoring that for any class, method, or XML file. So some examples are simplify, or generate a preview for large screens, or translate these strings to Spanish. And that's all in this generate option that's new to Gemini and Android Studio. We also have Gemini for app quality insights as well. So integrate with app quality insights, allow standing stack traces from Play Vitals and Firebase Crashlytics to Gemini for analysis. A little bit more about that error handling and all of that we've covered before. So using your source code for context, Gemini can infer the cause of the crash and provide debugging steps, or in some cases, even directly recommending a fix, and you can accept that fix in one click from directly within your workflow. So upcoming features, we have multimodal image uploads. So if you upload like a wireframe, it'll help generate like a composed UI using Material 3 as an example. try it today, starting with Android Studio Jellyfish, and you can try it, learn more documentation from our developer link. And to learn more about AI on Android in general, here's our developer link. Now, we do have a couple early access programs to share as well. So first is on-device AI hardware acceleration program. If you're interested in helping us map out like how we want to accelerate deployment of on-device models, please scan the code here. And then next up is Play for on-device AI, so targeting, downloading, and updating on-device models. Lastly, here's just a generic page for you to get in touch with us, learn more about updates on AI on Android, and share more about what you're working on with us. And that's it. Thank you.